One of the many reasons that you should listen to this program is that I am often ahead of the news. In fact, one of the biggest complaints I get from people is, why haven't you talked about such and such story? And well, actually, I talked about that story and you weren't here to listen to me when I did. I'm just ahead of the curve. That's not to pat myself on the back. It's just I pay attention to the news. I'm a news junkie. I don't get talking points from the RNC. And, there are some radio companies out there that actually do like prepackaged show prep for their hosts. And so all the hosts can get the same package and they can go through and pick and choose the stories they want to set up the story. I do my own research. Even Charlie and Philip don't do the show prep. They'll give stories to me in a Slack group that we're in because they know my blind spots. Like I don't often talk about sports stories, and Philip is very into business stories and stuff like that. But the main stuff is the main stuff, and that's my job. This is the Erick Erickson show. It's not the Erick and Friends show, so I got to do my own show prep. And when I was in Louisiana, at the beginning of June, no less. In fact, I can give you a fairly precise timeline on this by looking at my calendar, because I was in June visiting my parents and doing my show from that shack in the woods where I was expecting a man in a hockey mask to kill me. And so it was the week of June 10th. And I said to you guys, because a listener tipped me off, and then I myself heard it. I was listening to a local radio station coming out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And it was a morning show, and it catered to a black audience, and it didn't matter. They were talking about a lot of Baton Rouge stuff, and they weren't really doing heavy politics and Democratic politics and stuff like that, as you very often will get on a black news program in the mornings that caters towards a black audience. It's very Democrat-oriented and stuff like that. Well, this guy was talking about problems in Baton Rouge, things like that, but then he got on a riff about Project 2025. This is a local black male radio show host with an audience that is predominantly black males, telling them they need to go to the Project 2025 website. They can see it for themselves. This is dangerous stuff. This is autocratic, blah, 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 blah. What was so funny is I had gotten a text message from a listener saying he was listening to a local black radio station and it was happening there. And then, you know what? I remembered a month or so before that, or a little bit before that, I was very dismissive of it in Macon, Georgia, where I live. Local black radio show host was talking about Project 2025. So you got in Macon, Georgia, you've got Gastonia, North Carolina, you got Baton Rouge, Louisiana, St. Francisville, Louisiana area. Anecdote is not data, but when you have in the same profile radio stations that cater in the mornings to black men, led by black male radio show hosts in local markets, not syndicated markets, but local markets, and they're all talking about Project 2025. There is clear coordination going on. And I said at the time, a month ago, Republicans, Heritage Foundation, others involved, you need to be aware of this. You've got a problem. They're turning this into an attack on Donald Trump, and they're trying to vilify Project 2025. I told you a month ago, you had a heads up. And now, to distract from Joe Biden's cognitive decline, Democrats across America are screaming about Project 2025. Now, side note here. If you previously listened to me, I was not intending to be belittling, but I've already gotten hate mail about Barack Obama's not in charge of the White House. And I know Fox News tells you that, Newsmax tells you that. It's simply not true. And if you believe it, you probably need to listen to other people because they're not telling you the truth. And it's not very thoughtful either. Now, what's remarkable about that is that I can tell you guys that. Some of you will get offended. Most of you will appreciate I'm giving you the truth. But so many people on the left, they really do believe the truth is on their side. And when they hear people on their side on MSNBC and elsewhere vilifying Project 2025, characterizing it in certain ways, they really believe they're being told the truth. And they're really tying it to Donald Trump. So here's Project 2025. It is a jobs board. That is Project 2025. Started by the Heritage Foundation, the Center for American Renewal, and other outside conservative groups all got together and they said, here's the problem. If Donald Trump wins in 2024, he's not going to be fully staffed until 2026, and he'll only have 2 years after that to really accomplish everything. So why don't we start a jobs board now? We'll vet everybody now. People can send their resumes now. We'll vet them, make sure that they're going to be loyal, make sure they're not going to be leakers, make sure that they are sufficiently ideological compatible with the Trump agenda, and they'll be quick to hire. We won't have this waiting line of people after November ready to come in. We'll already have them. They'll already be stacked. We'll already know where to place them. We'll be good to go. Speed up the process. It's a brilliant idea. Kevin Roberts at the Heritage Foundation deserves a lot of credit for spearheading this and bringing a lot of groups to the table so that they could coordinate together to do this. Now, I don't agree with all the groups involved. Some of them I've got differences with, like American Compass, which is a very left-wing group funded by left-wing donors pretending to be right-wing, pretending that the free market, or pretending that the right hates the free market. It's some people are drinking its Kool-Aid. American Compass is a bad idea funded by left-wing activists. And you need to understand, Orrin Cass and American Compass is funded by major left-wing donors. They got a seat at the table for Project 2025. That does concern me. But most of the groups, legit conservative groups, not progressives pretending to be conservative. The problem is this. Project 2025 has gone beyond that now with a number of outside groups pushing policy proposals. Donald Trump has Agenda 47. Donald Trump's Agenda 47 is, if he gets back in, he'll now be the 47th president, and he's got his own agenda. It's separate from Project 2025. There is some overlap because it's conservatives and they tend to agree on some of the same things. But Project 2025 is much more extensive. It's not vetted by the Trump administration. It's not tied to the Trump administration. And while I think it has some great ideas, not all of it is, and not all of it's going to be implemented. But the left has decided they can find the provocative aspects of it. And let's be honest here, some of these guys have gotten really too provocative for their own good, and they've participated in planning out this Project 2025 agenda. Like, I got to say, I love Kevin. Y'all, I love Kevin Roberts. And Kevin, if you're listening, this isn't insulting, but phrasing Second American Revolution and it'll be peaceful if the left allows it to be probably wasn't a great choice of words, knowing how they're trying to grab hold of anything and make it sound like we're all a bunch of insurrectionists and very insurrection-y and stuff. I know the point that you were making, and I don't disagree with the point. I mean, it's the left that's going to be violent here. I mean, I've already said and gotten attacked by the right for saying that if Donald Trump gets elected, the left's going to burn down the cities of America. It's a fact. I wasn't saying it as somebody misinterpreted as, oh, is this why you're saying we shouldn't vote for Donald Trump? I never said that. I'm just saying it's a fact. The left is going to burn down America if Donald Trump gets elected. We just need to stock up on ammo and be prepared for it. And it's the same thing with Kevin's statement that the right is trying to advance a conservative constitutional counter-revolution to what the left has done. The left has advanced constantly. You can put a pride flag in a classroom, but God forbid you put the Ten Commandments, stuff like that. And so Project 2025 is a response to the left-wing agenda and has some great ideas. But the left is tying it to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is not involved with it. And a month ago, I said this was going to happen. I said, here's the next attack. And that's part of the problem with some of the rhetoric coming out of the people tied to Project 2025 right now is that it's been obvious this is where they were going to go, and some of the people involved, the left wants to make radioactive and tie it all to Donald Trump, who's got his own agenda, Agenda 47. This is, by the way, one of the reasons Project 2025 is one of the reasons the Republicans are scuttling their platform. They're not going to do a detailed platform. There's no need to do a detailed platform. You got all this competing stuff on the right. You got Agenda 47. You got Project 2025. There's no reason for a Republican National Committee agenda that's just going to be weaponized by the left and mischaracterized by the left. Why bother with it? No one ever follows the RNC and DNC agendas. They're a waste of time, frankly. But all that being said, as long as Joe Biden remains the candidate for the Democrats, the Republicans could very easily say, this isn't true. It's not Donald Trump's. There goes Joe Biden's dementia again. In fact, that's a great attack to use overall with everything the Democrats throw at us. It's Joe Biden's dementia acting up again. This isn't true, but it's Joe Biden's dementia acting up. Project 25 is not Donald Trump's agenda. It's, in fact, Donald Trump is now distanced himself from it. And people are like, well, this person worked for Donald Trump, but he'll go back into the White House, so it must be Donald Trump's. No. If that's the case, then I guess the Biden administration must be tied to the dude who is dressing up in dresses and stealing people's luggage, and stealing luggage must be part of the Biden administration agenda because that guy was in the administration, in the energy department at the time. So I guess the agenda of the Biden administration is to steal Louis Vuitton luggage and pilfer women's dresses because that guy was a Biden appointee at the time. If we want to play that game, I assume we don't. But they need something to talk about to avoid talking about Joe Biden's cognitive decline, and they've chosen Project 2025. And had you been listening to me for the last month, I'd have told you this attack was coming because it started firing up on local radio stations catering towards black men at the time that polling showed a big shift in black men towards Donald Trump. And this was their way of trying to pull them back. And I don't think that's going to work. And I'll tell you, I'm firmly convinced Kamala Harris will continue to push black men towards Donald Trump.